Amber Heard has fired her public relations team because she doesn't like the bad headlines she's been getting. Heard's new rep is high-powered publicist David Shane.
New updates as regards the most famous celebrities' news recently. Amber Heard has fired her public relations staff due to the bad press impression she has been receiving. David Shane, a high-powered publicist, is Heard's new agent. In the court of public opinion, if your name is Amber Heard, things aren't looking good for you. We say that because over the course of 3 weeks, the defamation trial brought against her by ex-husband Johnny Depp has slowly but steadily chipped away at many of her stories and claims about their relationship, primarily that she was a victim of his abuse when, in fact, it's a lot more gray and complicated. As if things couldn't get much worse for her, a significant alteration she's made has now become widely known. We'll break it down for you. Welcome to Celebrities Live. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for all the latest news. With everything out of the way, let's get to the video. The actress was upset by unfavorable headlines from Depp's testimony, according to the New York Post, which first reported Heard's switch. Depp is suing Amber for over $50 million over a 2018 op-ed in which she accused the actor of a beat. So just days before she was supposed to testify against Johnny Depp in his defamation trial, Amber Heard changed her publicist, sacking crisis PR company Precision Strategies and replacing them with a new team led by PR veteran David Shane. Heard has expressed her dissatisfaction that Depp's accountancy has received more public attention than her own during their tumultuous relationship, and she hopes that a change in representation would change that. Over the last 2 weeks, Depp's testimony defending himself against Heard's accusations has been accompanied by a slew of psychologists and former Heard and Depp employees with questions about the pair's mental state, as well as salacious and sometimes explicit accounts of their public and private lives together. Shane's firm, Shane Communications, previously represented Depp's former business managers, the Management Group, in a $25 million fraud lawsuit filed by Depp in 2017. The Management Group filed a countersuit accusing Depp of lacking impulse control in his spending habits, accusing him of spending hundreds of millions of dollars on real estate, wine, autos, and other luxuries through Shane Communications. In July 2018, the lawsuits were settled. Depp has rejected the charges as a media circus has erupted around the trial, which is being held in Fairfax County, Virginia, and has been live-streamed online and shown on cable news networks at Depp's request. Heard could testify as soon as next Tuesday. When it was first announced, this drew a lot of attention, not least because Amber Heard doing this in the middle of a trial and immediately before entering the stand sends a message of panic and her attempt to regain control of the narrative before it spirals further out of hand. It also raises the question of, would anyone care what occurs next if they've already decided? Because of how one-sided this case has been thus far, that is a more difficult thing to answer. But both witnesses and testimony have been harsh to Amber Heard. To be honest, she has had many persons in the case questioned by her lawyers, including Johnny Depp himself. But apparently it hasn't been enough, at least in her mind. As a result, things aren't going her way, especially online, where both Johnny Depp devotees and casual admirers alike are exaggerating the situation. Then, when the evidence for Week 4 began on Monday, things only got worse for her in terms of public perception. The nurse testimony. Then there was Amber Heard's former personal nurse, Erin Filati. Filati is an addiction nurse who is testifying about the disagreement between Heard and Depp. Depp and Heard's relationship had a broad sense of turmoil, according to Filati, with a cycle of arguments and reconciliation. Filati explained that her role was to help her with emotional and psychological concerns, as well as to settle things down. Heard was experiencing significant anxiety around the time of the March 2015 trip to Australia, according to Filati. Filati recalled that when Heard returned to LA after the argument that resulted in Depp's finger injury, the pair had to be separated. Several of the addiction nurse's medical records were questioned. Heard was experiencing heightened worry and agitation, as well as several outbursts of fury and violence, according to one source. Filati mentioned an event in London in 2014 when she was heard being quite upset and recalling a phone issue. Filati said, quote, "She was yelling, weeping, and having a raised voice." Filati was also questioned by Heard's lawyer regarding an altercation in December of 2015. Heard's lip was bleeding, and she reported she lost clumps of her hair and had an altercation, according to Filati's notes. Filati inspected her head and found no signs of hair loss, but advised her to see Dr. Kipper or go to the emergency department. Filati got images in the midnight one evening from Heard's lawyers. Filati said she isn't an expert on what the situation in the images is, but there is reddening on Heard's face. This testimony is a little more equivocal, as it may reveal Heard's injuries, but it also shows her nurse contradicting her narrative of events, as well as mentioning several occasions when Heard was enraged and needed to be separated from Depp. Now let's look at the situation from the perspective of another key witness. The protection guard. Did the security guard say something? Travis McGivern, Johnny Depp's security guard, remembered a heated altercation between Depp and Heard that not only grew loud in terms of words, but also went physical in terms of items hurled during his virtual testimony on Monday. He further stated that once the pair returned from Australia, their relationship got more tumultuous, stating that they argued very routinely. They were super loving, happy, and then the next night they could argue, he continued. McGivern recalled an incident at Depp's penthouse on March 23, 2015. Around 4 a.m., Depp contacted McGivern to meet him in the Penthouse 5 and bring his nurse. The two entered the Eastern Columbia building at the moment. McGivern noticed her in the lobby at the front desk. The nurse waited downstairs with Heard, while McGivern walked upstairs to meet Depp, who he discovered sitting against the penthouse door. McGivern said that he was attempting to get Depp out of the location before Heard returned, citing previous arguments in which Heard would prevent them from leaving. McGivern claimed that she was in charge of the elevator and had grabbed Depp's arm, which he wished to avoid. Hearing and Depp's nurse exited the elevator as Depp and McGivern were about to leave, and Depp and Heard went inside the penthouse to continue their talk. It started out rather calmly, but when McGivern entered the room, things became louder and more heated. Both of them were yelling and enraged. Heard throw a Red Bull can that struck Mr. Depp in the back, according to McGivern. The barrage of insults continued, and Depp was giving it his all at that point. McGivern recalled this while upset and enraged. Heard then tossed another object, a handbag or bag, which McGivern was able to deflect away from the target. Later, Heard spit on Depp. As the verbal hostility escalated, she was saying anything and everything, McGivern claimed. McGivern was dubbed Culling Depp, effing washed up, and effing, and she was dubbed a deadbeat dad by him. McGivern stated he felt uneasy because there were so many F-bombs. Depp became enraged after Heard spit on him. "I'm probably throwing down every rack of clothes and shoes," McGivern added. Heard was normally the one name-calling plenty of F-bombs, McGivern added. "She threw up everything," he explained. McGivern stated on several times that he would try to get Depp out of the position, and Heard did not approve of his involvement. After all, Heard has claimed for years that Depp is the only one in their relationship who is anyone, yet that is not the case here. She was deafeningly silent and hurled objects at him. That's the kind of stuff you'd want a public relations firm to try to spin, but it's difficult to spin something that horrible. Unfortunately for her, things were only about to get worse. She punched Depp in the face. During a dispute in their apartment, Travis McGivern claimed that he saw Amber Heard hit Johnny Depp in the face. She exited the penthouse after hearing Depp via a Red Bull can. When McGivern was trying to get Depp out, she re-entered with her sister Whitney. Both Heard and Depp were agitated, McGivern said, and he felt it was time to get Depp out of the situation. He got between Depp and Heard and told him they were leaving and it wasn't up to Johnny anymore, he added. Then, according to McGivern, he saw a fist and an arm come over him. I saw a fist and an arm come over my right shoulder and out of the corner of my eye at that instant. I heard and saw Mr. Depp's left side of his face being hit by a closed fist, he added. Amber was the individual who hit Depp, according to McGivern. He went on to say that he didn't know where Whitney was at the time, but that he presumed she was hiding behind Amber. Both McGivern and Depp had shocked expressions on their faces. Depp already had a beautiful little shiner, according to McGivern, who described his face as red and swollen, but not quite black and blue. McGivern testified that Depp did not hurl anything at Heard or respond aggressively to her. He went on to say that he had never seen Depp physically assault Heard. When questioned if Heard physically assaulted Depp, McGivern stated he observed her grasp his arms and force him away from a place, which is yet another testimony that paints her in a terrible light and might need a PR spin. This is also difficult to manipulate, given that this appears to be rather conclusive testimony. Even if her lawyers used the "he's devoted to Depp" argument, as they have with other witnesses, they would still need to show that he lied about the verbal disputes, which others have indicated happened numerous times previously. The only witness they have is her sister, who would not be the most trustworthy person ever, given her stated connection with her, who threw objects in the punch. Some think that she was a bead by Amber and would do whatever she pleased, including maybe lying. At this point, the main question is, how will Heard be able to turn this around? So, given Amber's current PR nightmare, one has to wonder how things will turn out, if they will turn out at all. For her and her team, having Heard on the stand will be crucial in the case. She'll be in big danger if she can't persuade people with her words or if she can't withstand cross-examination. It's also not a good image for her to fire her PR firm in the middle of the trial, as it indicates that she's unhappy with how things are going and believes she'll lose the case. Many would interpret this as a sign of guilt, especially given her decision to work with the public relations firm that early pursued her opponent, Johnny Depp. We'll have to see where things go from here, but clearly, she has some work to do. And there you have it, everyone. Take a look at everything Amber Heard did to try and sway the case in her favor, and what occurred at the start of the 4th week of the trial to make her question whether it will be enough. Do you think Heard made the right decision in quitting her public relations agency, or was it more of a knee-jerk reaction to what had been stated about her? Will things improve once she gets on the stand? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the channel again soon.